It was so awesome. Cambridge got to host 150 people from 7 different countries at their home facility in Chesterfield, Missouri. It's really hard to see something like what is humility or what is lean health. But whenever you show and see examples of it, you say, what does it look like? Then you can start to see a picture of it. And so I want to bring 3 guys up. I want to actually bring one person from the office up as well because of the request. So Mike, and Jonathan, come on up, and Doug. So just take a minute each and just share whatever you would like to with the 150 people from around the world that come in and say, whatever you want to share.
Mark?
Yeah.
Could they just tell us what their role is right now, how long they've been?
So name, role, how long you've been there, and what lean's meant to you.
Sorry. I've been at Cambridge for about 14, 15 months. I work on S-Final line. Right now I'm in airflow test station. Lean to me has been a means to have a happier and less stressful life. Because I can go to work, I can fix the things that bother me, I can make my job easier, I can make my job easier for others, and then I can go home happier because I don't have to worry at work or stress out at work or struggle and get frustrated at work. So that's kind of what it meant to me, is that it's made life a lot easier and happier.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Alright, so my name is Mike Crater, and I have worked at Cambridge for 2 years now. I am a department leader at sheet metal on first shift. And so just a little bit my lean aspect. What it means to me is not really a 2-second lean thing, but actually to me it's a culture. It's really changed my view of how I communicate to other people. Everybody is so willing to help out and help other people and talk to other people and care about their problems as much as their problems, because honestly we coexist and we have a lot of the same problems. So my lean meaning is that it's about the culture and the atmosphere that you have.
Mike Taylor, 2 years at Cambridge. I've just been recently promoted to team lead up in pre-paint. Lean for me is basically the same thing these guys have said, but also it's made me a creative thinker, a problem solver. 2 years ago I would not be up here speaking to y'all right now because the videos and everything is really helping me open up. So I was really self-conscious about my accent and everything, and with our culture it's really welcome me open arms. Nobody looks at me and says, oh, he talks funny. So, I mean, they might have a little fun with it, but I know how to take it. So.
My name is Doug Eisenhart. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing. I stepped into Mark's role as he became the president of Cambridge this past January, and I've been with the company for 4 years. I was initially one of the guys on this outer ring of the vortex watching and seeing what was happening, and I got sucked into the center with Bruce and Greg and Keith and some of the other guys that really ramped it up at Cambridge. For me, lean has been about fixing things that bug the customer. How do we eliminate the struggles that the customer is having? That resonated with me more than maybe fixing things organizationally. I've always had a little bit of OCD, so it fit really nicely with efficiency and things of that nature. Things in the right place has always been part of my DNA, but thinking bigger than that about how do we add more value to the customer? How do we get things out of the way that inhibit us from really connecting with the customer at a deep level? So lean has been about the customer more for me, and that's kind of my perspective on lean right now.
Thank you, Doug. I know one question that came out yesterday that we'll start with before we open up was Michael Althoff said, he's from Germany, and he basically said, it sounds like the office could use a little bit more time in the shop. So I just want you to speak to, there's typically a very large wall between plants and office. Where is that wall currently, and how do you see it being broken down, or how would you address that statement that you guys would love to see office people out? Anything in that area?
I'll speak for that a little bit, but I'd love for other chime in. But I think it's a huge sense of pride and encouragement when you see somebody that's maybe not. You think highly of people in the office. You think highly of your salespeople. So it's really cool to think that they come out there and they know that they're on the same level as you and that they're willing to pitch in and do anything to do their part as well. And I know that even though they're on the other side of the office, that they do their job very well and that we are counting on them as much as they are counting on us. But it is cool to have that communication and to wonder how our sales are doing and stuff like that. I think in the past year, like half a year though, but we've done a lot better communication with our sales and knowing the numbers and knowing how we're doing. So I think that's pretty cool. But just to see them out there would be really cool. As far as maybe just getting them out there, I guess more, but I don't know.
Thank you, Mike.
And we've taken a step farther. I'm on an organizational health team, and there's me and another shop guy. So we meet weekly and get to discuss some issues that are going on or a plan for the future. But like Mike said, I would love to see more shop guys come out and tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, what's going on today? And maybe me even go up there and see what's going on. So.
Anybody else?
They've done a really good job in the office where even the guys on the shop floor, if we need something, we can just go to them and ask them, or they can help us, and we don't have like that feeling that they're too busy or too important for us to be able to talk to them or for them to help us. So they've done an awesome job of that. The only thing that I see that we could work on would be the office understanding some of the processes we have in the shop floor, which there's a lot of processes for every station, but that might help us to be able to improve on both sides, because if we could understand some of the stuff the office does, and if they can understand some of the stuff we do, because they overlap a little bit, then we could improve more there. But I think we're on the right track to starting that, and I think that was doing the initiatives this year has been a big help in that.
Thank you, Jonathan. Just for everyone, the initiatives are basically cross-functional teams, the plant plus the shop working, office working together. I think, just comments from the 9-year perspective, the wall was large 9 years ago between the office and the shop. I don't know if anybody else has that. The cleanest I've ever seen it, I've never been to Paul's. I hear it would be a great example, but Greg Lieb last year, I saw 0 wall up between your office and plant. Our wall continues to keep going down. I think it's absolutely critical culturally that we keep on dropping that to where it's 0. And it's not easy. So it's intentional transparency, vulnerability, out there all the time. The meeting outside in the plant instead of back in the office where we would have told the people come up to the office. I think it's really critical that you actually go to the Gembas. Not only there's so much depth to that. We are just scratching the surface. I'm beginning to understand what it could look like. Our teams are beginning to do it. If everyone is doing that, there's no wall. Everyone is at the shop floor and understanding what the actual challenge is right there, there's no wall. And it's not the other way around. It's not ask the plant people to come up and see what a president does. That's not it. Go to the Gembas, go down to where the work is and be there. And so I love the heart.
Yeah, you actually come out and learn how to weld one day.
That was awesome.
He tried anyway.
Wait a minute. I gave up my welding shield.
You gave it a good try.
That is so cool.
Is Bruce here? There's Bruce. I think proximity is key. Going out on the floor, whether it's with customers or I think our morning meeting has had an impact on the connections between people working in the office and people working in the shop. Just getting to know people that you see 70 men and women every day, but you don't really know them until you get a chance to hear their story and being on the microphone, getting to know the young men like Connor presenting yesterday and going on trip to Tulsa with that group and getting to know people on a personal level. The proximity builds relationship. I don't think it's necessarily that you got to go out and weld to make a connection, but you've got to be in proximity and you've got to have interactions. Bruce and Keith and Greg have been central to pulling the company together with putting people together in the same space. So proximity is key.
Other questions from the group for these guys?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
so I have two questions. Is it Mark?
Mike.
Mike, okay, Mike. So you said something that you're more creative now, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you were always creative
Just unhappy, yeah.
and you just weren't in an environment that allowed it to come forward. What do you think?
That's 100% that. The past jobs that I had, I might have had the creativity, but I was just too afraid to share it because I was afraid of not really failing, but being shut down.
Yes.
And at this company, I'm never shut down. So, I mean, everything's welcome with open arms, whether it be moving a trash can, building up something bigger after that.
So can you talk a little bit more then? Something that I've discovered is this whole idea of fear of failing and fear of being put down. Do you think that's really the problem with most people, why they don't try new things?
So the question is, why don't they try new things? Is it fear of failure?
With me it was. I mean, I would say yeah, in 95% of the people. I mean, everybody's got a little fear. It's just how you bottle that fear up, whether or not you're able to get it out. And when you finally do get it out, like I said, when I first started this, they was talking about lean. I was like, yeah, it's not for me. I'll watch. I have nothing against it. But once I let it out, it was like an uncaged animal now. So.
Other questions? Yell them out. Go ahead, yell.
Let's talk a little bit about fixing what bugs the customer. Can you elaborate like some of the ways that you do that, how you get that information? One of our goals this year is to improve the life of our customer. And like sometimes I think there's things that bug the customer they don't even know. Is there something you guys do to?
Yeah,
Can you repeat the question just so we can hear it?
can you elaborate on what we mean by fixing what bugs the customer and what we're doing to try to uncover that? I think a long-range vision would be to go out into a product install and videotape everything and just watch what happens with trips around the equipment, trips to the truck, additional fabrication that's needed on site, all of the visual learning that we could get just in observation mode. Do that a lot and then come back and figure out how do we build the package or the kit to solve the problems of motion and wasted time. And that's longer range vision of fixing what bugs the customer. When we talk about our customers, as regional sales managers, our first customer is our representative partner. We have an independent representative network that behaves as our sales agent, and they struggle with many things that we're doing, from a sales process, sales education, sales material, sales concepts. They struggle quite a bit. So a lot of the work that we've done is to try to streamline and make efficient, make simple the messaging that we have behind our brand, to standardize and set expectations around best practices so that we could say, we should be good at these things as a sales organization, and our representative partners should be great at these things. So we've done some heavy lifting over the last 4 years with standardized work and writing down what a best practice or best approach would be from our best performances. So we take the best of our group and share ideas across our network and try to, again, spread the word in a simple way. We've done that over the course of the last 4 years, and I think we've made pretty strong progress in fixing some of the challenges and obstacles between ourselves and our representative partners. We need to go further into developing tools and resources for our engineering customers, for our mechanical contractors, and ultimately for the end users that deploy our products on their buildings for improved thermal comfort and energy. So we're starting closest to us with our rep partners. We've made more progress there than with the other customers in the stream.
Can the others add anything? You guys have been basically started fixing what bugs you, and then you've gone downstream a little bit to your customers, right? You've got people that you deliver to. Can you share a little bit about how you're getting that feedback? Because it's the same concept. You just happen to be in the same plant.
I can say something. So for us, part of it is our collaborations across departments in on the shop floors. Is we'll get together and we'll talk about it, and a lot of the time we'll find out that somebody's struggling with something down the line, and we realize that we can change the way we're doing it that will make that easy for them. So we've done that a couple times where we didn't realize it was even a problem. We wouldn't even thought of it, but then when they said it, they're having a hard time with it. One example was we have on our panels the transformer where it was mounted was difficult to replace for service and for the testers. Over in the electrical area, we don't have any idea about that. We don't even think about it because we never have to do that. So when they said that, we looked at the panel and we were able to find a way to move it to make room for it, to shift it out to where it's easy to access, to make it easier for them to do that. So collaborations is one. Another one that for the customer would be some of the initiative teams. I know I'm on the product development initiative team and lean to the customer team, and they take feedback from sales and service to look at what the customer is wanting to see as far as product development goes, and changes that they can make to make it easier for installs and stuff like that. So that's been a big help too.
So I think the common thing that I hear is you got to be at the client. You got to be able to see it. You guys are going as far as you can, and you get into the reps, and we've got so much growth there needed. We've got so much depth there needed. When you go to Toyota and you see how deep they are downward, and you see how deep they are upward, you see how far up the supply chain they've gotten. They did not start there. They started here, and they grew out in capability. And so these guys are building so much capability at the cell level, and then they're going downstream and upstream, and they're watching what happens whenever you do that. And then these guys are watching that and growing and keep on going outward. We've got one of our clients here. HP McClure is one of our dear clients from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you for being here and for your hearts about how to grow a business, people-centric business. The question is, what does the leader have to do to figure out that the people will do that? I have been partnered with HP McClure for the last year and a half. Basically going to their sites and seeing what their struggles are, and guess what? They're not with our equipment. Some of them are and some of them are not, but I have to understand them. I have to know what that looks like so that I can start to share with these guys. Here, guys, this is what I'm seeing. And so we're connected deeply now in that pursuit. And so I can actually feel how hard it is as a mechanical contractor to wrestle with people on a daily basis at a project level. And before I was just yelling or talking or pushing into the organization and saying, you guys should go out and find out what the customer is saying. And I'm like, that didn't work. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should go. And so I'm out there trying to figure out what it would look like to partner deeply. We also have exposure teams that are going out to the manufacturing community. Can you share with them what your exposure plan is this year and what that looks like for Lean?
So for the product development and lean to the customer, where we want to start is we're going to send a group out to watch a startup to be able to see how the contractors are doing the startups or how the startup works. And then beyond that, we'd like to go see and watch an installation of each one of the various units to be able to see where they struggle, things that we could do different, things that they might, recommend or might, want, and then we can revisit possible solutions from that. But we're sending out groups of people from various departments, so it won't just be the guys from engineering. It won't just be the guys from the shop floor. It's going to be maybe one person from engineering, a couple people from the shop, different various parts on the shop floor, from the assembly part, from the final assembly, some of the guys from the office, so we can all go, so we get different perspectives and views on that, to see where we can improve to make it easier for them. So that's kind of the plan that we've put together.
Yeah, and talk to him about the exposure plan of just lean exposure. So how many of you have been out to an exposure trip this year? And can you describe what that is, Michael?
Yeah, so I think that's a huge part of team building. As Doug said, you really got to know on a personal level. Engineering, you personally got to know. Sales, you personally got to know other departments. I thought that was phenomenal. And so it's pretty cool that your company has an initiative to have 100% of the company be externally leaned and to experience other companies. And for them to feel like you are such a big investment in their company gives you a sense of pride, a sense of ownership of the company. It's for them to put into you want to give back 10 times as much. But you learn things, what we call nuggets that we get from other companies, and we bring it back and we share it with our teams. And so we get that team building too out of it. And so I would say external lean is very huge, very powerful.
Yeah, I'm on the external lean team as well. Our goal was to have 100% out this past year. I think 6 months, Bruce, it was what we was working on. We got up around 70%, but it was busy season, we started growing. More people started coming into work. So hopefully by March of next year, we'll have 100% exposure to outside lean. I know we went down to Ed's place down on the Bell down there, 3 or 4 groups down there, and it was a lot of fun. So
We've been to Children's Hospital. Really, anybody from Children's Hospital here?
there's.
Thank you very much for opening your facility. Anybody from Down on the Bell here? Thank you for opening your facility. Anybody from any other local company that's given us a tour? Yes, Hodges Badges, thank you very much. Worldwide Technologies, thank you very much. So what these are half-day experiences for all of our employees. Here's the vision from, is John Kramer on? So I'm not going to talk about him if he's here. Okay, anyway, John's vision has always been exposure. He has exposed himself to things all over the world, and he would come back by himself and he would tell us, he'd be like, we got to go do this stuff, we've got to go do this stuff. And if you've ever met John, he tells us a lot of stuff, and we can't do it. And so I was like, well, I'll go with you. And so I went with him. And Kevin went with him, like, oh, okay, I could help you get this stuff done. And he's like, that's better than me doing it myself, right? One of the things that came back, the exposure trip 2-3 years ago to Paul's was an exposure trip. That has been the vision always. How do you unlock people with exposure? We're just trying to operationalize that and get that down in cost. So now we, last year, spent approximately $100,000 to expose people to external benchmarking. We only exposed 10% of the workforce. This year, we're trying for 100% with that same $100,000. And these are half-day to full-day exposure trips where they see 1 or 2 companies and they come back. Guess what? They see things and it unlocks them.